Hi, I'm Charisma.
I'm Jalen.
And I'm Cameron.
And welcome to Bruin Table Talk. Today we have two amazing Black women on our show. We're so excited to have both of you guys and just be able to get your knowledge and learn about you guys.
And our special guests today are
Coach Dawn Staley and Coach Joni Taylor.
Hey!
Coach Dawn Staley is currently the women's head basketball coach for the University of South Carolina and was recently the USA Basketball Olympic National Team head coach from 2017 to 2021. She has won 4 Olympic gold medals, 3 as a player and 1 as a head coach. Most people know her as Coach Staley these days, but she was also a phenomenal basketball player who was recognized as the WNBA as one of the top 15 influential basketball players in the league. In 2012, she was inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame and was also elected into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2013. It would take me a long time for me to list every accolade that she's earned as both a coach and a player, but when speaking about Coach Staley, she's known to be a proven winner on the inside and out.
And Coach Joni Taylor is currently the head women's basketball coach for the University of Georgia. In high school, Coach Taylor did not only win Gatorade Player of the Year, she also has 3 state titles in track and field. She then went on to play basketball at the University of Alabama, but her legacy does not stop there. In 2011, Coach Taylor joined the University of Georgia as an assistant coach, and 3 years later, she became the head coach. During her first year, Coach Taylor coached her team to an appearance in the NCAA tournament, which earned her the Rookie Coach of the Year award and Georgia College Coach of the Year. In 2021, Coach Taylor was named the SEC Coach of the Year, where she continues to lead and elevate the Lady Bulldogs in the SEC and on the national level. And also in the summer of 2021, she won a gold medal as an assistant coach for the USA Women's U19 World Cup team, and she has no intentions of slowing down.
So welcome to the both of you. We are so excited to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Good.
We're doing great
here.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for creating a platform to have these kind of conversations.
Yes, thank you for being here. So we can get started with the first question. How did you know you wanted to get into coaching? Like, what were your inspirations? Did you mimic anybody or have a specific coaching style to start off?
I'll take it first on. I did not want to get into coaching. It never crossed my mind. I wanted to be a teacher and a counselor. So my mom and dad were heavy in education. All of their friends were educators. So it was natural for me. I got my degree in secondary ed. I was going to go to grad school, get my counseling degree, teach and be a high school counselor and a Christian counselor on the weekends. And then my 5th year when I was student teaching and done playing, our athletic director at Alabama made all student athletes who had a 5th year work 20 hours a week in somebody's office. And so I worked in the men's basketball office. Mark Godfrey was the head coach at the time. And I worked for Darren Boatwright, who was the Dobo. He's now an athletic director. And so I was a student assistant, and that's just when I caught the bug. It really opened my eyes to what coaches do. I had no clue. I was clueless. I thought they wore cool Nike gear and coached us up, and then they went home the rest of the day and took trips. Like, I had no idea the investment, and what they really did. And the other thing that really was not cool about it, but that was the year 9/11. And so I can remember being in the office, like printing out graphics for recruiting, and Coach Godfrey calling me from the Birmingham airport to, obviously we're all sitting in front of the TV, watching the World Trade Center, watching all this go down. And he was, in his tears, he's telling me, like, I'm driving back from the airport because that's recruiting. It's a contact period in September. And he's like, I can't fly anywhere, but when I get back to the office, have a detailed plan of how I'm going to get to all these recruits home by bus, train, and car. And the airport is 45 minutes away. And so it literally, like, in the same breath that I'm like wiping my tears and trying to pull myself together, I'm like, crap, I got to get this done. Like, I have you have that feeling when there's a deadline approaching and there's a sense of urgency. So it just, again, it hit home how resilient we can be, and how even through tragedy and when things happen, sports, basketball, coaches, there's a place that still you go to pull yourself together, help people out. And that's when I caught the bug. And then I was fortunate enough to get into coaching when I was done at Alabama.
Well, I mean, I learned something new every day. I didn't even know your story and how you got into coaching. You make it you make it look like a natural thing for you, Joni, but it was good to hear the backstory. I'm very similar. I never wanted to be a coach. I think I was too much of a player to really understand what coaches do until the Final Four was in Philly in 2000, and then I was playing with our USA basketball national team. So we were going to train and play a game in Philly during the Final Four. And shortly before that, the AD at Temple reached out to someone that I knew and asked me if I'd be interested in the women's basketball position. And I'm like, no. I mean, like, what? Ugh, like, And they kept asking me, and I'm just kept saying no. So the AD was like, okay, since you're gonna be here, why don't you come and talk to me? And I'm from Philly, so I felt like I had to do, the honorable thing, which was to sit in front of him and tell him I'm flattered. But I'm 29 years old. I still want to play in the WNBA. So I went and I threw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and and I was going there to tell him I'm flattered, but no. And then he asked me two questions. He was like, can you lead? And I'm looking at this man. It's the late grade. He's deceased now, but I'm looking at this man like, you're asking me if I was interested in a position. Like 2 weeks ago, I come in to see you and you're asking me if I can lead. I'm like, my bubble. You talk in your bubble. You're like, what is this man talking about? Why is he wasting my time? So I'm like, yes, basically I'm a point guard. Every team that I've been on, I've been the captain of the team. And yes, I do think I can lead. And then the next question he asked me was, can you turn the women's basketball program around? And I never looked at it like a challenge. So he's basically challenging me to turn it around. And I am drawn to challenges. And it just seemed like a out of body experience where I was just like, whoa, like I never looked at it like that. So we continued to talk. And then he said, well, you mind going down the hall and just kind of meeting some other people? I'm there. And mind you, like when I walk down this hall, he opens the door to this conference room. He sits me at the head of the conference table. And there were like 8 to 10 people sitting around this conference table. They're firing off all these questions at me. And I'm thinking, hey, this is an interview. Like they're interviewing me. Like I've never been on a job interview because basketball has been all my life. Like I've been a camp counselor. I never had a real job. So they're asking me like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I was like playing in the WNBA. They were like, have you ever thought about like what Coach Cheney is our legendary coach, may his soul rest in peace. You don't see yourself, being in the game for 30 years and impacting lives. I was like, no. And I think they liked the fact that I was frank and honest with them. And I'm looking at myself like, hell, I got a job. I don't need this job, so I don't need to impress anybody. Let me just be me and answer the questions. And they actually like that. So 2 weeks later, I took the job, and it's what I'm supposed to be doing. Like this is quite natural for me to be doing what I'm doing. And I thank God for Dave O'Brien, who was the AD at Temple, for helping me find what I was supposed to be doing.
And I know so many people who are grateful both of y'all decided to be coaches, even though you never wanted to. So we're just all grateful that you chose to step into that role. But were there any things that you saw or experienced as players that you knew you either wanted to bring when you started coaching your team or wanted to change once you began coaching?
I think for me, through AAU, through just other people you meet in college, I had so many other, not necessarily teammates, but other players in college who did not transition well. And I think that as coaches, a huge part of our responsibility is to make sure that our young ladies are well-rounded when they leave us. Yes, they are here to get an education and play basketball, but they are here for so much more. Obviously, they have to balance that well, and everybody can handle different things. But, I didn't see and I didn't hear stories about coaches pushing, especially Black athletes, to do anything other than their sport. Even from an academic standpoint, we had to share our practice gym with the men. And so you had a hard set time when you practiced. And so if a class interfered with that, it was change your class or change your major, or you can't major in that because this is your practice time. And I just don't think that it's not the right message, especially for women, because things are changing now, but there's still not a women's basketball player who, when they're done playing basketball today, that they could just go retire. They're gonna have to have a second job, right? Now Asia may change that. Asia Wilson is on the track to changing that, but I didn't think that coaches did enough to make sure that as female basketball players, we were around it when we left and when we graduated, when the ball stopped bouncing. And so that is something that's a huge part of what we do. And I know Dawn as well, is just making sure that, yes, we're going to get everything out of you from an academic standpoint. A degree is really important. You're going to leave here with one. We're going to get everything out of you from a basketball standpoint. We want championships. But outside of that, you're going to spend more of your life not playing basketball than you are. And are you ready for that? And I feel like it's our job to make sure they are, whenever that is, 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. They need to know, they need to transition well. And I think it's gotten better, but I still don't think it is happening at the level that it should.
And I feel like when I got into coaching, the only thing that I was really concerned about was our players who wanted to be pros, because that's what I knew. That's what I was closest to. Like I worked my butt off to become a pro. So the players that wanted to be pros, I was probably the perfect coach for them, until I got to South Carolina, when the makeup of our team was not of players who wanted to be a pro. And it jolted me as a coach, because I never ran into anybody that didn't want to be a pro basketball player. They made me change like how I looked at them, and because they thought basketball was just like a hobby. I came here for the academic portion of it, and the basketball is just extra. And I'm just like, whoa, like, I mean, it threw me. It threw me. I had to change. Like, I had to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, we as coaches are dream merchants. Their dreams aren't always in line with basketball. Their dreams are being a doctor, a lawyer, or going into any other profession besides basketball. And I had to learn to pull back and give them what they needed in order for them to give me what we needed on the basketball court. So it was a cool evolution of becoming a better version of me as a coach, and giving our players what they needed, what they desired. Now, I will tell you this, those players that had aspirations of doing something other than basketball changed. Like, they wanted to become pros. And it's funny how it works. But we're in it for them. Obviously, we want to win basketball games, and we want to do well in our profession. But ultimately, our job, and this is our job, and I'm gonna sum it up real quickly, because this is what one of our parents of one of our current players said to me, and she meant it from every ounce of her. And this is kind of why I still coach. And she said, I give you my daughter. That is strong. Like, that is, I know when we get good recruits and good people, that is what we do. But when you hear a strong Black woman tell you, I give you my child, you better return her in a much better form than she came to you. And I take that to heart. So when we land a recruit, when we get somebody to come into our family, I hear her, I hear that mother's voice. in every single person. I give you my child. And that's why, that's why I stay on them as hard as I am on them, because I keep hearing that voice saying, I gave you my child. So I got to treat her like royalty. I have to show her tough love. I have to hug up on her. I have to prepare her for the rigors of the real world.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's super powerful, just because this is so much bigger than basketball. And like I've learned from myself, like when I first came here as a freshman, I was like, okay, basketball and school, that's it. And I just know that there's so much more to this world than us just being basketball players. And like in our program, we talk about how your value comes from who you are and not what you do. And I think you guys really are just talking about that and what you guys do with your teams and your players. And that's just super important for players to know that like basketball is just not all you are. And like, there's so much more to you. So I appreciate that you guys are continuing to do that with your players and your team. So can you guys speak on your experience working as Black women head coaches at Power 5 schools, and just like your thoughts on the representation in the NCAA and just like Black women being in coaching in general?
Yeah. I'm from Mississippi. So it is, when I was watching basketball, there was one Black coach on the screen, and that was T. Vivian Stringer, and that was it. And, we say it all the time, like, in order to dream it, you have to see it. And that's all that I saw. So we have a long way to go in terms of still closing the gap and the disparity of Black women that are head coaches in our field, especially related to the percentage of Black female athletes that play basketball. I look at us in the SEC, and we have 5 Black coaches. Last year we had 7. And last year we had 2 in the state of Mississippi. I would have never thought that would have happened, ever. I mean, I live 20 minutes away from where Medgar Everett's got. I mean, like I just never would have thought that would have happened. So when I look at Black women coaching, when it is something that is a huge responsibility for all of us to wrap our arms around each other, support each other, call each other, because everybody can eat. It is how I feel about it. I mean, Dawn gave a net to every single one of us this year. Everybody can eat. And that's what it's about. It's about making sure that we don't fall into or buy into the stereotype of don't share, don't share, don't share, because that's what they want us to do, right? Kind of like a crabs in a barrel mentality. And so I think what is really special about the Black females that we have in women's basketball is that the ones who are connected, we all, whether we know them or not. I mean, I called Dawn 2 weeks ago about something. Like we're there for each other. We reach out, we help each other out, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, whatever that is. We have each other's back. It's also a huge responsibility for me. I feel like it's a huge responsibility to do well, to make sure that I don't do anything intentionally to cause harm. Like, first, do no harm, because I do feel like, whether it's right or wrong, or I'm putting that pressure on myself, I do feel like in order for more Black women to continue to get jobs, we have to be successful. So it is a bit of pressure is not the right word, but it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility and a standard. And there's a lot of Black women who deserve opportunities. I mean, you're sitting here talking to 2 who didn't even want to coach, right? And look what we've been able to do so far. And so that we've got to continue to beat on those doors, open those doors, to make sure that other Black women have the same opportunities that we do.
And I mean, there is a lot of I guess pressure. There's pressure. There's pressure to be a Black coach in this profession. Not just because we are the minority, because we have to do well. Because when we don't do well, we don't get another opportunity. And then we're not as recycled as other coaches. So we feel the pressure of having to do well. Now, I'm just going to give you from my vantage point. We're the number one team in the country, right? So there's pressure that comes with that because there are a lot of people that don't want a Black coach to have the top team in the country for whatever reason, because it's abnormal. It's abnormal. It's not what people are used to seeing. Do we get treated like other number one teams in the country from a media standpoint? No. Okay, no. When we lose, do I feel pressure? Yes, I do feel like I let people down. Anytime we take a loss, it's not just a loss for our program. It's a loss like, damn, like I can't fail for my other sisters that are out there coaching. So you feel that kind of pressure as well. You feel the pressure of, hell, if something breaks off, in our society where there's a crime that's committed against a Black body, we instantly become the spokespeople for our university and everybody. Like, hell, it's Black Men History Month. You know how many people ask me to speak at this or that? I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't do it. I don't do all of them because I'm celebrating us every month of the year. And you're not going to use us just to fulfill a quota for these 28 days. No, come see me in March and come see me in April. Come see me in May. Come see me in June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and back on around January. Because, no, seriously, like, I'm probably one of the few Black people that celebrated in that way. Because we got more value than February. We got more value. So, I'll do some. Don't get me wrong, I'll do some, but I'm not going to do as many. Like, there is a lot of requests that come in to speak here or there. Even like law firms or companies want you to come in February to just, check off, quota. Yeah, we're more diverse now. You see what we're doing. No. And it's like I'm one of two Black coaches here at South Carolina. I've been here. This is my 14th year. The Black coach, the other Black coach is the track coach. He was here before I got here. There hasn't been another Black head coach that's been hired for any position on this campus. And people are going to hire who they want to hire. But you can't tell me there hasn't been another qualified Black head coach for any other sport, in this athletics department. Yeah. So the pressure to do well on this campus means that maybe, possibly, there's a small chance that somebody else will get an opportunity to come here to do something great. So I want to represent as well as I can represent on this campus and beyond and nationally, because it ain't the norm. Like, Joni and I were the first two Black coaches to compete for an SEC championship last year, like ever in the history of the SEC. And people don't want us to talk about that. Why can't it just be two great coaches? Because it never happened before. It's historical. So once it becomes the norm, which I hope it does very soon, then we don't talk about it. We had two Black coaches in Final Four. Y'all just want us to not acknowledge some history? No, because here's why. When it was only white coaches that were going to the Final Four, they're going to say, hey, look at that Black coach. The Black coaches don't go to the Final Four, so don't go there because you ain't going to ever go because you ain't going to be represented in that way. So those are the things that are being used against us. So we got to continue. And when we're there and when we're represented, then we need to salute, celebrate, and lift each other up. And because we're not celebrated in that way. And I just feel like that's pressure, that's pressure to continue to be in this space and represent well, because that means I know for a fact when we had 7 Black coaches in this league, we put pressure on the rest of the league to hire Black coaches because it was popular and we're winning and we're representing. So do the right thing. We lost 2. We're back at 5, but we can also, we got a seat at the table. Like we can sway things. We can sway awards. We can do all of that. We can be in charge of all of these things when it's more of us, because I promise you that, and people will probably say, oh, she's so wrong. You think they don't vote for each other like friends? Don't vote for each other if it's close? Well, hell, I'm here to tell you, 14 years of being in the SEC, there are some other people that could have been a coach of the year or their player of the year. So all of that. I'm not saying that you sway it and people aren't deserving of it. I'm saying sway it because we deserve it, and we wouldn't get it unless we had the votes to get it.
Yeah, that's super important, just like representation, especially within a sport that has a lot of Black people and Black women playing in it. And then I just love how you guys are able to support and uplift each other. There's kind of this like idea that there's only one Black woman or one person who can make it to the top, and there's space for everyone. Like we've proven it in the Final Four last year. Like you and Coach Adia both made it to the Final Four. There's room for more than just one person. And hopefully one day maybe there's 4 Black women head coaches in the Final Four. But I just love how you guys uplift each other and know that like it's not just one person. Like it's gonna take everyone, and just keep inspiring and lifting up people so that we can create jobs and create opportunities for other people.
And can I just mention something else? We're not saying when we're talking, when we're speaking about these things, we're not saying like hire all Blacks. Let's make the whole, women's basketball hire all Black coaches. And we're not stepping on other white coaches when we say these things. It's not a, downplaying anybody else. It's just saying that, most of the makeup of women's basketball, the majority is black women, Black young women. There should be a space for other Black coaches to coach that majority at a higher rate than what it's been. I mean, we're getting there slowly. We're getting more and more opportunities, but we're just saying we want the opportunity. We want the opportunity to fail or we want the opportunity to succeed. However you want to look at it, it's just, we need more administration. We need more ADs in positions, in more of the more diverse AD pool, because you're going to hire who who you're comfortable with, and I'm A-okay with that. I really am. Like, I'm not mad at white ADs who hire white coaches. I'm not mad at that. They're only doing what they're used to doing. Like, I'm going to hire here at South Carolina who I'm comfortable with, whether it's Black, white, whatever. I get it. I want to hire who's best for the job. Not everybody looks at it like that. Yeah. They look at it like, hell, I mean, we're buddies. My buddy called the AD and they want to hire another, white guy. I'm cool with that because that's who but we got to do a better job of doing your due diligence. And it can't be just a status quo interview. Don't waste our time to do that. Like, if you know who you got, hire who you got. Don't waste our time trying to appease some diversity quota to meet. Don't do that. That's happening all over sports. Not just women's basketball, men's basketball, NFL, NBA. So, we don't want that. We don't want those handouts. But when we get in front of you and we blow you away, don't be afraid to make the hire. Because do your due diligence. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, I am not, again, I'm not trying to say don't hire this person or that person. I'm just saying, when you give us an opportunity to fail or succeed, more times than not, we succeed, because our adversity is our advantage.
I like that.
Yeah. No, it's super powerful. I love the message of just uplifting one another, the message of celebrating Black history, Black success, Black culture, 365 days of the year, not just fulfilling that quota like you were saying. But the message is still clear, like there's more work that needs to be done. And both of you are trailblazers in women's basketball. Both of you have broken barriers and made history. And I know you mentioned Coach Staley, like both of you guys being the first Black women head coaches to me an SEC tournament championship. And I know you guys talked about the pressure and responsibility that you feel as being those trailblazers, but can you speak on like what has it meant to you to be those trailblazers? And how do you feel about having to be the first to break those barriers?
I have no problem with it. Everything Dawn said is right on target. I also think I look at, when I came to Georgia in 2011, our attendance and what it looked like, not numbers, but the lack of diversity. Mm-hmm. And then I look at South Carolina. I played in the SEC. When I played in the SEC and went to South Carolina, it wasn't 200 people sitting there. And those 200 people were white. And now you go to South Carolina and there's not a seat in the house. And it's as many Black people as it is white people. And so us being in those spots, also, you see the camaraderie in the community, and it allows people, I've had people tell me, I never stepped foot on this campus until you got this job. I never came to the University of Georgia. I wasn't coming to the university because of the history surrounding, and that's any college and that's any public institution in the South that can tell you that story. And so we've got people who are coming from Atlanta. We've got people who lived in this city their entire life, and their first time stepping on this campus was to support us. So it means something. It means a hell of a lot. And it's something that I'm proud of. I know that it's something that we take very seriously. And when they are sitting there and there's little boys and little girls watching, right? It allows them to dream. Maybe it's for them to play basketball. Maybe it's for them to be a coach. Maybe it's them to look over and decide to be an administrator to make change. But it can't happen if they don't have somebody to rally around and support. And so that is one of the things that I have seen a huge change in terms of like what our crowd looks like, what our attendance, what our donors look like. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Black people who wouldn't give money for the same reason. Former players, in a lot of places that I've been, and now they are, because they feel like they can get behind and support, us as coaches. And so it is a lot of good things that happen from it too. So it comes with a sense, as much as there is pressure, there is a sense of pride. And because, you're a change agent, you're becoming a change agent, and you are helping other people break down some barriers that they had because of the position that you're into.
Yeah. I'm hella proud. I'm hella proud to share in that space with Joni. Here's why, like you got to have strength to be in this position, because things come at you that you're going to have to be able to handle. I think we both come from, I know we both come from super strong parents. Like mothers are, the strength of 10 men, because they grew up in the South. My mother grew up here in South Carolina, like 45 minutes from this campus. And I share the same story that Joni just shared. Like there are people who would not step foot on this campus because they couldn't. That's number one. Number two, when they thought it was safe to do it, the psychological residual effects of not being able to do it, you ain't gonna do it. So you hear about it, but yet they say, hey, I'm coming to see you. They hear every game. And it's super cool. Like our position is at our respective institutions. I mean, we look so much unlike the rest of the world, meaning it's the most diverse game event on our campus, the most diverse. And I think people really give us an opportunity to be our organic selves. Like I'm able to be me. And once people see who you are and how you represent, I mean, they fall in love with us.
Yeah.
They do. Like, cause we treat people as people. Like, I talk to the janitors. I talk to every single person. I talk more to the people who work around here, that police our games, the yellow coats that are telling people where their seating is in our arena. I make sure I reach out to them. I make sure I give them Christmas gifts, the people that work our table. I make sure because, those are the people who will. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I genuinely have a friendship with them over the 14 years that we've been here. But those are the mouthpieces of your program. So they're going to go out and say, hey, this woman speaks to me every day. I can't not like her. Like, seriously, like it's cool. Like, but there are some out there that you're going to have to break down, and you're just going to have have enough stamina. Because in order for you to change, you got to have more stamina than, people that got hate in their heart. Yeah. And that's what we've been able to do on our campuses. And that's probably one of the most proudest things I have in looking at my 14-year career here is the amount of people that love our program, both Black, white, whatever, that love our program for us. Yes, we win at a great rate, but you don't always have to like the people that's winning. They like the people. They take the time to figure out who we are, to read about who we are, to want to know more. So, I mean, it's cool being in this space and changing how people view Black people, quite simply.
I just love hearing that both of y'all have been able to create these like safe spaces on your campus, even to people you may never even interact with. You've been able to create a space where they can just live to be like their authentic self and just see you living in your truth and be able to live in theirs. And I just love hearing that. Like our MTED mission statement, we say we want to create a space where everyone feels safe, seen, and heard. And I definitely believe y'all are doing that on your own campus in whatever way you're doing it. And I just love to hear that. And now we have reached the fun part of our interview, some fun questions. So Riz, you gonna start us off with one?
I'll start it off. Okay, so we've seen you guys in your games, and we know you guys come with the drip on the sideline. So what is your favorite outfit you've ever worn?
I don't know. I'll give two answers. One, both times I was pregnant, I got to wear flats and not heels, and so that was I was comfortable then. And then the other game that's always fun for me is we have a holiday game right before Christmas, and we wear a tacky Christmas sweater, and so I try to be more outrageous every year in how tacky my Christmas sweater is, and it never fails that one of our fans says, "That's not tacky," and I'm like, "Yes, it is." but those are probably my two fun favorites. The other ones, I don't know. I have no clue, but I get excited about that Christmas sweater game because I try to figure out how tacky I can be.
I'm more athleisure nowadays. When the pandemic hit, I started wearing sneakers and like flat shoes. I can't go back now. Like my feet can't adjust back to heels. So I like my outfit every game because I am super comfortable. I'm cute comfortable, but I'm comfortable.
You're fly.
Both of y'all be stepping.
Yeah.
And our coaches
That's
would
Joni.
definitely
Now, Joni steps. Joni wears that the tight. I couldn't do it. These love handles would be sticking out.
You don't have any love handles.
Right.
Barely eats.
Both of y'all be looking good all the time. Simple. Y'all look great. Okay, so the Super Bowl just passed. I want to know if you got to be in any halftime performance ever, whose would you choose?
We're gonna have the same answer for this. It's Beyonce. For me, I think it would be for Dawn too. Probably it's Beyonce. Hands
Hell
down.
to the queen.
Yeah.
Y'all was here now. Y'all hear what that Okay, and the last fun question is, what is your ideal off day? What y'all doing?
Hiding. Hiding somewhere. I hide from my kids too sometimes. I have a 5-year-old now. Drew is 3 today. My 2-year-old turned 3 today, so I hide from them.
Oh, happy birthday, JC!
Happy
Birthday.
Wow.
So yeah, I hide quite a bit on if I have a chance to have an off day, and then I try to get a massage. But even Monday would be the day that we're off. We don't practice on Mondays, but we're watching film all day, so it's not really an off day. So an off day is when the season is over, to be honest. But I do on Mondays after radio, I do have a massage penciled in every Monday. That's my part of my self-care before I get into watching film.
I get one every Sunday.
On Sundays? How do you get it on Sunday?
Like if we play home, I get it that night. If we play early, like on the road, like we played y'all Sunday.
Yeah.
I got a massage, and my masseuse comes like, I like it at night. Like she'll come like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Y'all hear that, right? She coming to the house.
Make
sure you didn't miss that, right? I gotta go somewhere. I gotta go to my place. So they ain't happen on a Sunday because they're closed. Just make sure y'all got your piece.
I mean, it's worth it. Like every Sunday, but a day off. I like to take my boy Champ, my dog, on a walk. Like I like to walk. I'll walk for 2 hours on the river, like on a river walk, come back. And I like cleaning my garage out, or like I like busy work. I like seriously, like I put a TV in my garage so I can just move stuff from one side of the garage to the other and trying to. I mean, I do that probably not even on a day off. Like I'll do that like 2:00 in the morning. Like can't sleep. Let me rummage through stuff. So
that's how you find the trophy.
That's exactly how you find the trophy.
How you find your trophy.
Right.
I love that. Well, we've come to the end of our Bruin Table Talk. We appreciate you guys finding time to come and speak to us and just share your experiences that you've had. We just love both of you guys and what you guys are doing for the game and just how you guys are continuing to elevate yourselves and the people around you.
Yes, it's a complete honor. We can't thank you guys enough for taking out your time to be with us today. It's just amazing hearing from you too and seeing you too. So thank you.
Yeah, just to echo on, just a super honor for y'all to be on the show with us. Just beautiful, great Black women doing y'all things and just great role models to like look up to all the time. And I know that you're a Bulldog, and I know we got a Gamecock on the call, but like always, go